Hey everyone, welcome to a midnight live stream. Wasn't really planning on doing one this late. Tried to do one earlier in the day, but life got in the way. And here we are looking at an application called Nina, Nighttime Imaging and Astronomy. Some of you may be familiar with it, and if you are, let me know. Otherwise, what we're looking at is the eyes of my telescope. All these dark spots here that we see, I know a lot of people have questions about them that haven't seen dust spots before, but these are just dust spots all over. This is probably a smudge, maybe, and it's on my camera sensor. I normally use a blower and sometimes even use a swab to clean my sensors before I go out for the evening. It's been a little over 2 months since I've taken out this whole imaging setup. Not counting the telescope, because the telescope is new that I'm testing, and I totally forgot to do the cleaning, so it looks really ugly. But I'm going to take flat frames later, and that should clear up a lot of these dust spots. I'm just a little bit afraid of this long one. It may be an issue, but I'm hoping that a flat frame and then the dithering that happens with my setup here helps clear it up. So we'll see after I post process it. Hey Beverly. Yeah, yeah, like it could be either. Like this is probably a smudge. Like these two, like looking at the pattern, these are smudges. These are like little dust specks on the side here. Smudges, you can get like swabs. They're like sensor cleaners. They look like tiny little brooms or sweeps or mops, and you can just use some distilled water to clean the lens. I use that quite often. No, it's not an issue. I'll fix this with flat frame. So I'll post the final processed image in Discord at some point whenever I get to it. But I've been imaging for a while, and I didn't notice these smudges were here until about an hour in. Otherwise, I'd have taken the camera out and cleaned it a little bit. But oh well. And I think I want to let this go for another 5 or 6 minutes, and then I'll point it to a galaxy called M106. Hey, Dan, man, welcome. Yeah, I know. Like all of mine are impromptu. I am planning to do one on Saturday night, rain or shine. Rain or wait, clouds are clear. Um, it'll be a trivia. I'm still working on the questions, but it should be fun. I'm going to use poll everywhere, so it'll be interactive. Ah, sorry for the clouds. I will have clouds for the next 5 days, I think. So tonight is my last night, and I told my wife I am not going to bed until it's daylight. Also, I'm using a new mic that I haven't tested that much, so if you have sound issues, let me know. I can try and fix it. Probably should have tested that before I went live. I'm just gonna bring over a Stellarium for a second and show you that the next galaxy that I'll be looking at is called M106. It's this galaxy here. So we're going into galaxy season. It's going to be galaxies for me for the next few months because all of the nebulae are out of reach for me. We have this is the Leo triplet. It's a little bit too east for me, but this is a great group of galaxies. I've seen these through an actual telescope, and these look great. Hey qubits. Oh cool! Congrats on the second week of the S50. Hope you're liking it. I didn't take any of my smart scopes out tonight. What setup am I using? So I have a picture for that. So I'm testing out a new telescope. It's the SV Bony 550 80 millimeter refractor. It's on my CEM 40 mount. I have a guide scope here, which is also an SV Bony guide scope. This has a flattener here, and this is a TubeTech 2600 IMX 2600 Astrocam. I've cooled this down to negative 15 degrees Celsius, and yeah, and I'm using Nina to catch everything. I posted a couple more pictures, or at least one more picture on the Discord in the Astro Gear channel. Um, is it expensive? I guess. Well, the telescope, it's a test telescope. It's been getting passed around astrophotographers for a while now, so it's my turn to have it for a few weeks. So I'm testing it. I'm giving this back. But the telescope itself, I guess, is like $600, and the flattener is another 150. But the CEM 40 mount is probably the most expensive thing you see in this screen here. The camera here too, the TubeTech camera that I'm using, it's also a loaner from the company. I'm waiting for them to tell me when and how to send it back. So I'm trying to make the best out of the situation while I still have it. But this is probably going back at some point. The SV Bone is definitely going back soon. There we go. I have been collecting gear for many years. They do get expensive. Yeah, the mount. Most of the stuff I buy is actually used. Like the guide scope I bought used for $50, I think. The guide camera is doubles as a solar camera because it's a monochrome camera. I got this used for like $230, I want to say. It's been a while. The mount I also got used from a local. Actually, it was actually someone from my astronomy club who was looking to get rid of it. So he gave me a really nice deal. I think it was 1,600, which is still expensive, but I bought this before I had a child, so it didn't feel as expensive. Now it's like, wow, I spent so much money on this. But a mount like this is like $3,000, so I got a good deal. And I was saying in the Discord that I do want a strainwave mount at some point. They're just smaller, more portable, can take more load with in certain cases. But yeah, those are crazy expensive. Yeah, a lot of my gear I bought before he was born. Like like as soon as he was born with daycare and stuff, my disposable income is like, it's gone through the ground. So that's why I've actually been enjoying working with these telescope companies, who send me stuff to test. A lot of the stuff that I test, I give back. Some of them I get the option to buy, like the ASCAR 71F. They gave me the option to purchase it early, so I did that. But it's like now I have to be careful about how much I spend, where I spend it. Oh yeah, the 8-inch Dobbs, $100. It sounds about right. I see a bunch of those on Facebook Marketplace all the time. I have a friend who bought one for $75 as an Orion 8-inch. I think he still has it and he still uses it. Some of those are amazing deals. I almost bought a 12-inch Dobsonian from someone on Facebook Marketplace. They had it listed for I think $300, but by the time I reached out, it was gone. Yeah, that's a valid fear, qubits. The I usually buy stuff online without seeing it from cloudy nights only, because there are a lot of astronomers and astrophotographers there who take care of their gear, and like when you ask them, they're usually honest. Like I've bought dozens of stuff from cloudy nights without any issues. When it's in Facebook Marketplace, I make sure that it's somewhere I can drive to so I can see it. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not gonna. Alright, so I'm gonna let this go for 1 more minute, 1 more frame, so like 20 more seconds, and then I'm gonna stop it, and then I'll show you how I go and find something else in the sky. So I'm gonna look at M106, as I said. Another thing is this is not live stacking, so like the C Star live streams that I've done, they were taking images and adding on top of one another. This is not doing that, so this is a single frame. And so far I have, if I look here, if I look at my sequencer, I have 91 of them. So 120-second exposure, so that turns out to about 3 hours. 3 hours of imaging on this one object, so I should have some decent data. Okay, so what's happening? Alright, I let it go for too long, so I'm gonna let this go for 90 more seconds, and then I'll stop this, and then we'll find M106. Just going to delete these. I don't need them right now. I will say one cool thing I like about the camera that I'm using is it comes with a built-in dew heater. So the camera itself, I will never dew up because I have it on usually, and it's only using 18% cooling power at negative 15 degrees Celsius, which is cool. It's just super cold outside. Okay, so right, 30 more seconds, and then it should dither, and then I'll stop it. Oh, yeah, this is my guide scope view. So the little camera that you saw is looking at this. This is Bode's Galaxy, and it's tracking a star in the center here. Tracking has been okay for most of the evening. I did have to recalibrate at some point because things got really wonky. But okay, 5 seconds. Alright, now it's dithering, and it's the perfect time to stop. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to clean out my sequencer and start from scratch so that I can demo this. I'm going to go to framing, and I'm going to search for M106. And then when I click on load image, it uses the HIPS 2 FITS sky survey, and it'll get some data for me that I can use to frame my object. Has anyone who's watching used Nina? I don't know if I'm covering things that you've already watched. Oh, wow, this looks pretty ugly. It looks like a reflection, but it's just from the survey. It's just a weird survey. But if we look here, there's actually a lot of galaxies in this area. We have M106, which is the big one. We have UGC 7303, 7282, 7463, 7290. This is a good frame. Oh, we have a couple of, I think those are bright stars, maybe galaxies. This is a really great area. I love M106. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna try and get as much as I can in my field of view. And as you see, as I move this, the RA and declination coordinates changes. Yeah. So, oh yeah, cool. Look at it. I wonder if I can do this. The framing is mostly accurate. Sometimes it's not, but I'm trying to get these two galaxies down here in the field of view as well. The only problem is corner stuff can get a little bit weird because I might have to crop those out, especially when it's dithering. So let's see. All right, I have this. So next thing I'm going to do is I can do slew and center, or I can add this to target sequence. I can add it to this target sequence. I have a couple of presets. such as AF is for autofocus. I don't have an autofocuser attached to this. Some of these are like H alpha. Some of these are very specific sequences that I like to do. But for this one, I'm going to do 120-second, 60-second exposures, and it imported the coordinates for that into the sequencer here. And there's a little chart here. So right now we're here, and it's not going to go to zenith until about 6 a.m., between like 5 and 6 a.m. So I have quite a bit of time with this object here. Andromeda Galaxy. I wish I could do Andromeda Galaxy. It is not in the right place in the sky for me. Andromeda nowadays disappears for me like at 6 p.m. Sadly. But here, and this is the main instructions. So the meridian flip trigger is not going to happen because it's not going to flip until 6 a.m. And I'm going to take 60 120-second exposures at 101 gain and 70 offset. And it's going to dither every 4 frames. And there's a lot of stuff here. So it's going to slew and center first. So I'm going to click on play. And so now what it's doing is, you'll see at the bottom here, it's slewing. So it's actually moving my mount to these coordinates automatically. And once it's done, it'll take a picture. So once the slewing is done, there you go, it's settling. I let it settle for I think 4 or 5 seconds. And now it's taking a 10-second exposure. So it's going to take a picture of that area, and we'll see some stars here. There we go. And what it's doing now is called plate solving. So it's taking these stars, it knows where some of the brightest stars are supposed to be, what they're supposed to be, and we can see M106 right here. It's a little bit hard to see, I think, in the stream, but on my monitor it looks pretty clear. And it says that there's an error. So the error distance is 37 arc minutes, and it slewed it a little bit, just a very tiny bit, and it's taking another image, and then it'll say what the error distance is then. Usually with this setup, it needs 2, sometimes 3. So here you go. So now the error rate is 4 arc seconds, which is extremely tiny. That means the center here is where I put the center of the frame, and it's in an acceptable error location. So like 4 arc seconds is nothing. So this completed, and now it's actually taking an exposure. So it's doing, it's doing guiding. So if you look at my PhD2, we can see that it is guiding. So it is looking to track this star here. There's a little box here, and then the crosshair, you'll see the crosshair will move to it slowly, and then it'll track it, and it'll keep tracking it, and now it's guiding. So it looked for guiding, it completed. Now if I look at my Nina, it is dithering, and then it'll eventually start imaging. Oh, there we go. It did it already. So exposed. So it's exposing 5 seconds. So I'm taking 2-minute exposures. So in about 2 minutes, my imaging tab here, we will see something a little bit better. So we have M106 here. We can see it already. It's a very bright galaxy, but we can also look at some stars. This is an airplane or a satellite. So in about 90 seconds, we'll see something. I know I just babbled on a lot, so if anyone has any questions about anything, feel free to ask. Thanks, Beverly. I appreciate that. Hey Cody, welcome. Thanks for taking the time. Alright, its first image is done. Now it is saving and it'll display this here in a couple of seconds. There we go. Ooh, look at that. So now I can zoom into M106. We have a galaxy. We have another galaxy here. We have another galaxy here. So there's a ton of galaxies in this area. And this is going to be the corner that I was trying to get. Kinda. It's gonna get cropped out. I know it. But it's okay. I tried. If you look at the framing again, yeah, like this galaxy. Yeah, this galaxy. It's gonna get cropped out. Yeah, that's one exposure. Yeah, unfortunately, since I'm not live stacking, this is all the exposures are gonna look like this. They're all gonna look this boring, and then hopefully I'll take a bunch of them and then I'll stack them, and then it'll look like. Oops, where's M106? It'll be here. So this is what the galaxy looks like. So we'll see. Cool. Yeah, if you ever have any questions about any setup, let me know, Qubits. I I realized like a couple years ago that I've been doing this for so long that um, I could I should just trust what I say. It was actually advice that one of my friends gave me to be more confident in my answers because I do know what I'm talking about most of the time. But I'm happy to talk through many questions and clarify whatever you need. This galaxy would actually look a lot better with one of my larger telescopes. So I have my 8-inch SCT that I got it ready for deep space imaging. I just need to do it at some point, and I think and this will definitely be one of my targets. Oh yeah, Nina is great. It's open source, which I love. Uh, I also used a lot of something called Astroberry. If you're into like Raspberry Pis, it's really nice. The only unfortunate thing about Astroberry is that the creator kind of abandoned it because Raspberry Pi 5 is a 64-bit system, and he just didn't want to take the time to convert Astroberry. And I don't blame him; it's a lot of work. But Astroberry is really nice to look at. They also Astroberry uses something called ECOS and Indy. I'll actually write that in the chat because it's hard to understand. ECOS. Oops. Wow. So ECOS is the software that you can use. It's open source. It works kind of like Nina. Just like any software, they have a learning curve. It takes a little bit to get used to, but um, like once you get used to it, it becomes second nature. And some of these tools are so helpful. Like one of the things I don't have installed here is an autofocuser, and watching the thing focus automatically is kind of magic. You know, like the C stars that you have already do it, but before the C stars automatic focusing, we had an actual thing that we needed to attach to our telescope. Yeah, no, I understand that, Cody. I was, I was, I was definitely there at some point. I still am with certain things. Like I don't do monochrome imaging. There are some people who are monochrome imagers who get really sharp data. They have much more complex setups than I do. You don't really need an ASI air. if you run everything on a from Windows. Yeah, I don't actually use an ASI Air. So an ASI Air, I love ZWO. I love all their products, but I do not like the ASI Air. Not because it's not cool, but because of the concept. It's essentially a Raspberry Pi that's inside. And before the ASI Air came out, like I've been using Astroberry, which is also a Raspberry Pi, but it's open source and you can use any hardware with it. With the ASI Air, you have to use ZWO gear, which is what I didn't like coming from the Raspberry Pi and open source world. So that's my gripe with the ASI Air. I won't say that I'll never try it, but it just doesn't appeal to me because this is all open source, this is all free, and I can use any hardware with this. I'm not locked into just one brand. Hey, yeah, I agree. The S50, S30, and the Dwarf 3 has been cool. Yeah, it's just so easy. I said it earlier that I didn't realize how lazy my smart telescopes made me because it took me about an hour to set all this up to get focused to get this started. My sea stars takes like 10 minutes at most, if even. And packing up is also super easy. This is going to take me half an hour to pack up, at least, if things aren't frozen to the ground. But one of these days, I will do a live stream with my big SCT looking at one of these galaxies. It should look a lot better. Like this is with an 80 millimeter, so imagine a 200 millimeter, more than 200% aperture, and 400% focal length. Oh yeah, I'm with you, Beverly. I also don't use Apple stuff. Yeah, like I don't have any iPhone. The only thing I have is the iPad, and the only reason I have it is because it's from work. So I probably shouldn't be using it during my live streams. So just don't tell anyone I work with. Um, but yeah, I don't have anything Apple. I had an iPod Nano from 2005 that I used for 12 years, 13 years before it died. Hey Gary, welcome. So we have like 19 people viewing, I think. So I'll mention this again that on Saturday night I'm hoping to do another live stream where I'll do like an AMA followed by 30 minutes of trivia. I'm still working on the questions. Should be fun. It'll be interactive. I'll use poll everywhere. So you'll need like a browser window. You can log in and answer some fun astronomy and astrophotography questions. Yeah, my iPod was also from before the iPhone. I think iPhone was 2007. I had my iPod 2005. I still probably have it somewhere. Everybody remember to smash the like buttons. Yeah, I don't think I ever. I think I've said that in one of my videos once, and it felt weird, and I just don't do that anymore. I don't tell people to subscribe. I don't tell people to like or share or whatever. You do you guys. Hey, Project Electric Eye, welcome. Ooh, this is what is this? Pretty sure this is a satellite, but it dims out at the edges. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure this is a satellite. It just gets bright, but satellite just went through M106. Interesting. Cool. I'll zoom into this one, and then in about 90 seconds, or yeah, it'll disappear because of the next frame. I don't think this is plane. An airplane is I have it's probably gone by now in the history, but I do have one with a plane. Planes usually have multiple lines, at least two, because of their wings, or they blink. But this is a satellite. It's just too smooth, and it's really tiny compared to the size of the Galaxy as well. I'm 90% sure it's a satellite. 10% maybe it's a plane. Yeah, the Starlink satellites. Yeah, they show up so much. We'll see. And usually, if it's Starlink, they'll appear one after the other. It'll appear. It'll stay for a couple of minutes. So we'll see if the next frame in 12 seconds also has a satellite streak. But I do see them trail quite often. I have a friend who's actually a pretty successful podcaster. She tells me the exact same thing. She watches my video and yeah, she's told me I need to get better about uh what's the word, advertise, not advertising myself but selling myself. I don't know, something like that. Promoting myself. That's what it is. Self promotion. I don't do enough of that. I mostly do this for fun. Oh, that's a good point. All right, all right. I gotta talk to you some more. Yeah, I'm a big introvert. You know, for my day job, I'm a software engineer at my desk. I don't like talking to people. When it comes to astronomy, this is the only time I feel like I am kind of extroverted because I can talk to anyone about it. But asking people to do stuff, yeah, you're right. It doesn't feel comfortable. But I'll take your advice. How about that, Beverly? Next video, actually not my next one. Maybe my next third video because I already have a couple that I recorded that I need to edit. I'll tell people to like and subscribe for you. Yeah, I'll do it. 2025 new resolution. Ask people to do stuff. I am kind of getting out of my comfort zone the first week of January, where I'm presenting about hydrogen alpha solar imaging to my astronomy club, expecting maybe 100 people in person and on Zoom, and then they usually get washed by another few hundred people afterwards. So yeah, so we'll see. I am not prepared. I don't like talking in front of people. This is fine because no one's looking at me, so no one can see me. Thanks, Russell. I appreciate that. Thanks, Beverly. In exchange, you have unlimited access to astronomy and astrophotography um, information, content, whatever I know. Yeah, I love solar too. I need to. I have so many things I need to do within the next 2 weeks. I am in Portal 8, so I'm right outside of Boston. If I look like northwest, it's probably Portal 7. If I can go, but I can't. I usually can't. So I look northeast. It's Portal 8. It's pretty bad. I do want to move, but it's somehow better than my last place. I lived in New York City. It which was I think Bortle 50. So Boston isn't too bad, and I'm glad that I have a backyard where I can set up and do those things. My only problem is that my backyard is shared with my neighbors, so I can't leave stuff out permanently, which I would like to do. Oh, nice. We're in Jersey. My sister lives in South Jersey. Um, Starts with an E. I don't remember her town. Oh yeah, the tree trimmer. Yeah, they removed a bunch of branches, so I have a lot more view straight up. But the one branch I really wanted them to take down because it blocks the eastern view. They told me they can't get to because it goes technically goes over to my backyard neighbor's fence, and they were afraid they were going to damage it, so they didn't take it down, and I was just annoyed. But I have more sky. I can't complain. It's just less than I was hoping. Sad. Ah, cool, qubits. I've been to Jersey quite often, and I don't think I know anything besides the big towns and where my sister lives. Oh, cool, Gary. Where are you in Portal 3? I wish I had access to Portal 2, but it takes me about a 4 or 5 hour drive to get to a Portal 4 zone. Yeah, agreed. Stupid branch. Maybe some snow will bring it down this winter. It's a good tree. I shouldn't say that about the tree. It's a nice tree. Gives us shade in the summertime. Wow, we got it's like 10% of the people here are from New Jersey. This frame here also has a satellite, and we can see this one go travel. So if you look at the previous frame, yeah, here, and then the current frame, yeah, that's a satellite. It'll appear in the next one too. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you probably have some really nice dark skies there. I'm jealous. The Northeast is insane, and every time we try to get a light pollution bill passed, it just dies. If I could, I would move out to the middle of nowhere, but my wife has to go to the office from time to time, at least once a week. I technically have to go in once a week, and my in-laws are nearby, which helps a lot with the babysitting and stuff. Wow, that's cool, Gary. Yeah, I can't think of anywhere I can go within 3 hours that'll be that dark. It takes me about an hour to get to my astronomy club, which is a Bortle 6. I can probably get to central Massachusetts in certain areas, which is Bortle 4, but I don't think we have any Bortle 3 areas near me. Nothing close. Northern Vermont, maybe, by the Canadian border. Thanks, Cody. Good night. I was laughing at Gary's comment about how he figured out Beverly was Canadian. Yeah, I thought about Starfront. There's one person in our Discord who has a telescope at Starfront. I've seen some of the data he has. It's amazing. I won't name him because I don't know if he wants to be known, but he has a setup there. I briefly thought about doing it, but yeah, like I think this cheapest pier is 150 bucks per month, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it one day, but it's just another cost on top of everything else that I have. So I don't know. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like if I were to send something there, I'd have to buy another mount, maybe another telescope too, and another, especially if I want to do stuff here too. I have two other mounts, but they're both Celestron mounts that Starfront doesn't take. Thanks. Yeah, that's M106. We have a bunch of other galaxies, but I also did pull up light pollution map to see how lucky you are in Idaho. Ads. Wow, this is like that's crazy. Yeah, when he's older, yeah, I might do it. Maybe even before then, because I image so little um, that I tend to forget stuff sometimes. Look at this targeted ad for me. Probably should have an ad blocker. Yeah, Starfront is in Texas. I think it's around here, somewhere here, Western Texas. And I could look it up, but yeah, I think they're in Border One location. So there's two. Where's Border One? I don't know. They claim to be in Border One in Western Texas. Maybe around here. Cool. And then let's look at the Northeast. This is where I am right now. It says 7. It's actually closer to here. Yeah, so that's where I am right now, 8 to 9. And then if I look northwest, it's a little bit darker. And yeah, like here's class 4. I can get there. This says it's class 3, but there's no real place to go. It's like mountains. And you can see that there's not a lot of civilization here, unless you own property there. It's really hard to get to. Yeah, the eastern seaboard insane. I'm hoping to be able to go to what's the state park over here? Oh my god, it's at the tip of my tongue. But over there somewhere next summer, with my wife and son. Portal 2. I don't think we can get here. This is probably on top of a mountain. But anyways, we'll stop. I'll stop looking at this. This corner depresses me. Scott Pilgrim, the comic book character. Michael Cera lives near you. Right, yeah, yeah, from where you live. Cool. Coders. I mean, there was somebody named Cody here who left. I going back to the stream here. I'm going to stop this temporarily. I'm going to pause this and I'm going to go to M51. This will still be my main target for the evening, but I'm going to go to M51 because that is my favorite galaxy, one of my favorites, and I think it's in a good position now. It's always cool to look at, so I'm just going to do this. I'll take a couple of images. Looking at M51. Hey Imran. Yep, it was M106 so far. We were on M81 and M82 for a while. I did M38 before that, but that was before the live stream. So, like here. So we had M81, M82. I forget the NGC number of this galaxy here. So yeah, now we're on M106. I'm going to pause for a little bit, and then I'm going to go to M51, and then I'll come back to M106 later. So... I know what you meant, Gary. It's just 1 a.m. and I am lacking sleep, and I'm not planning to go to sleep for another few hours at least. It was just a bad joke. Oh, cool. How did your M51 come out? Let's see, framing M51. There it is. It'll be a little bit tiny, but M51 is a really bright galaxy, and it looks like I can I can do this and get a couple more objects in here, including this galaxy here. We have another galaxy there. Cool. Okay, so I'll frame this. So M106. So I'll let this do one more, and then I'll stop this, and then we'll come back. I'll come back to this later, probably after the stream. The Pleiades, I did a little bit earlier in the evening. I don't think it'll come out good because it was right over city of Boston. It'll eat up all of the nebulae. Oh, nice. 600 images. That's awesome. I'm probably not going to get to more than a dozen tonight. But I want to take some, and then, as I mentioned earlier, I'm testing a telescope, so I'm trying to get as much data as I can so that I can evaluate this as fairly as possible. Okay, it's dithering. Right. Okay, so I stopped this. So pause that, and then I'll do M51. So press play again, and now it'll find M51. So I can go to the imaging tab. So as I mentioned before, right now it's slewing the telescope. They didn't have to move much, and it settles for about 5 seconds. And it's going to take a 10-second exposure to figure out where it is. Yeah, M51. I've never shot M51. I haven't actually shot any of the northern galaxies from anywhere outside my backyard because it's just so easy to do from my backyard that when I travel, I tend to look at other parts of the sky that I can't see from my yard. So it's unfortunate. Um, Maybe one day I'll get to image it, but I do want to image M51 with my big 8-inch SCT at some point. Look at this. Even at a 10-second exposure, like we can see some structure of the galaxy here. I just saw your your edit, Beverly. That is it did look like a angry face to me too. I'll put it up on the screen here. This is a good one. Do you have any Beverly? Do you have any astronomy clubs near you? Because galaxies like M31, the Andromeda Galaxy, is really easy to see through even like poor telescopes. I've and it's also visible to the naked eye, so that helps. But maybe someone in a local astronomy club can help you find it. Um, yeah, like you won't be able to see what we see here. Like in like a minute and a half, we'll see what it looks like, but we won't be able to see structure that clearly. but it's still pretty cool to look at. Yeah, binoculars. Yeah, yeah. The Andromeda is fun. Like even from like Bortle 5 skies, if you have good vision, you can see a naked eye. I mean, not the outer edges, but the core of it. Yeah, I wonder if they have like mine, like any weekend clear night, will have somebody there who opens it up. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something to look into. If you ever visit Boston, let me know. I'll take you to ours here. We have a massive telescope that I can. I'll show you how to use it. Oh yeah, that'll be good too. Yeah, from your balcony. Yeah, M31 is a great target. I think in June, May and June is like high enough in the sky, or it starts coming out early enough that you can see something. Oh, look at this! Our first image of M51. Look at that. This is a very bright galaxy. Great time to get into the hobby because we are entering galaxy season. I like galaxy season because there's lots of galaxies from my backyard that I can see. But I also dislike galaxy season because I need bigger. I need one of my bigger telescopes, which is always a harder thing to set up. Oh yeah, Jupiter. Yeah, and Mars is getting bigger. So with your scope, you might be able to see some detail on Mars. Like in I think 2 weeks, Mars is at opposition, so it'll be super bright and biggest it'll be in a year. So look at Mars too. Welcome to the world of astrophotography and astronomy, where as soon as you get a telescope, it's 95% clouds. That's been the rule since the time of Galileo. Yeah, I think when you live in a city like Toronto or New York or Boston, the goal is to get as far away as you can and look the opposite direction, or at least away from the city lights. Like when I'm at my astronomy club, I can't look southeast because it's just all city glow. But northwest is super dark. I used to do the same thing when I lived in New York. I would drive out to Long Island and then I would look north and east, and that always helped. And we can spend a couple of minutes with the Whirlpool Galaxy, and then we'll go over to my next favorite galaxy, which is the Pinwheel Galaxy. This one had a supernova last year. This is a really nice galaxy too. Also pretty bright. Not as bright as Whirlpool, which is here. You can see that they're really close together. And we can take a look at this one too. And then maybe after that we can do the Sunflower Galaxy, which is a little bit dimmer, but it looks like this. It'll be a little bit smaller. And then we have the Croxeye Galaxy, M94. There's so many galaxies in this area. I love it. And then M106 is up here. So I'll look at that, and then I'll probably end the live stream in like half an hour or so. And then I'll go back to M106 and then do other stuff. All right. Good night, Gary. Thanks for joining. Yeah, these are all the Messier objects, like Croxize M63. I think no, Croxize M94. There's M63, which is Sunflower. We have the Whale Galaxy. Whale Galaxy is actually really nice. It's not a Messier galaxy, but it looks big, but it's tiny. You need a big telescope for it. Crowbar Galaxy. There's so many. Box Galaxy. It's an irregular shaped galaxy. You need big telescopes for these. So I do want to redo this kind of live stream, but with one of my big telescopes. The only problem with that is that it's a much slower telescope, so it'll take a while. But you can see that this area of the sky is what I can see, and there's a ton of galaxies here. One of the reasons I love galaxy season. Okay, so we're framing, and we'll do M101. There we go. So that's M101. So I'm going to add it to the sequence. Okay, so M51. How many images did I take? I took 4. Yeah, you can stop. I'll end that, and then M101. We will go to M101. It should be pretty quick too. It's right next to M51. Oh, Orion is a really fun target to look at. I can even in my bright backyard, I can see Orion naked eye if it's good enough seeing. Like I can. I know where it is. Orion is super bright, so it's really cool to see. And Orion is also like visible with the really crappy oxygen 3 filter if you have one. Yep, agree. Qubits. It's yeah, it's just so easy. I am dreading going outside in the super cold tonight to take apart my setup. We'll see. Alright, so M101 is centered here. It's a little bit harder to see, but you can kind of see a smudge in the middle. That's the galaxy. But once I take a 2-minute exposure in almost 2 minutes, we'll see some detail here. No, that sounds right. It does look hazy without a filter. And then once you put like an oxygen 3 filter, you can see some more shape because a lot of the starlight gets filtered out, and it looks interesting. You were not, well, actually I don't know if you were high. I think only you can answer that question, but it does sound like you saw Orion. Oh yeah, I'm I won't take that as a personal attack on a cold night in January, because I probably will do that in my backyard at least. At least this is not a smart telescope setup, but it is smart enough that I have this set up outside and I'm in my basement, warm, looking at this. Ah, yeah, sorry, clouds. They do ruin everything. Clouds and trees. One of the things to know about the astrobin pictures is that they're processed. So a lot of astrophotography is about post processing. Is about taking like all this data that I've captured and then processing them in some software like PixInsight or Cyril, and then you can get the details like they're in Astrobin. I'll actually link to my Astrobin. I don't think I've done that. Ooh, look. So this is, we can see some detail of M101. It's not as fun to look at as M51, but it's there. M101 is a fun galaxy. I'll actually pull that up. So like yeah, so here's M101 taken with the was it taken with the, yeah, it's taken with the C star. So here you go. This is what it looks like with the smart telescope. That's it sounds like you had a fun night, Beverly. Here's M101. Here's Supernova from M101 last year's March 23. This was in April 2023. You can see here supernova, no supernova. This was taken with an actual big telescope. But I'll post my astrobin in the chat. I don't I don't post everything on astrobin. I should, but I don't. And I'm actually going to stop M101, and then we'll go over to M. What did I say? M8694, Croxi Galaxy. Is that what I said? Yeah, M94. 94. Give me. Okay. Well, that sounds fun. Yeah, I didn't have nearly as much fun. I was with my. I mean, I had a lot of fun with my son and my wife, but and my in-laws were with us. Look at that Croxi Galaxy. I don't know how good Croxi will look. It's a smaller galaxy, so we'll see. So I'll send this to the sequencer, and then I'll stop M101, and then I'll start M94. and then I'll plan to end this live stream at 1:30. I think that's a good stopping point. So I want to thank everyone for showing up to this impromptu live stream. I hope some of you can join me on Saturday night for the trivia. It's work in progress. I'm still working on the questions, but hopefully it's fun. I'll schedule that ahead of time, so it'll be posted on the channel and on Discord. So if some of you haven't joined Discord, check the description. There's a link there. Join us there. Yeah, but I agree. It is different kinds of fun. Yeah. Yeah, I shouldn't complain. It was a lot of fun having my in-laws there was great because they did so much babysitting that I was able to focus on the eclipse. So I appreciate them for that. Thanks, Qubits. There's Astrobin. There's also Telescopius. So Telescopius. I'll post this there too. So this is another one. This is actually a really great planning website. So if you like put in your gear here, it'll tell you like stuff that you can look at with your gear. So let me put that in the chat as well. Thank you. Yeah, I try my best. Yeah, Astrobin and Telescopius is also fun to look at what other people do. There are a couple more that have come out since. There's one that's actually paid. I don't know if I'll ever join that one because, yeah, I don't want to pay to host my photos somewhere. Yeah, if you haven't, you've seen me use Stellarium. Do you use Stellarium, Beverly? Like this app here, it's just super useful. You can put in your telescope information. It'll tell you what you can look at. So this is the camera view, but there's also an eyepiece view. So like you put in your eyepiece size, your telescope size, and it'll tell you like what size you can expect for something to look. Super interesting. Oh yeah, Astrobiscuit is fun. That guy that guy's something else. I love watching his videos. Super hilarious. Oh, you should try the desktop version if you can. Um, I like the mobile version, but it's missing a lot of useful features. There's also a web version which is also missing a lot of useful features. The desktop version is fully free and it has everything. Yeah, I love the desktop version. If you want another mobile app recommendations, there's also Sky Safari. I think they have a free version, but I use the pro version, which I enjoy. Even though I don't really use all the pro features, but it gives me notifications on like Jupiter, like red spot transits and moon transits and all that stuff, so I don't have to look them up in advance. And here we have the Croxi Galaxy. It's a little bit harder to see, but you can see that there's like an outer galaxy ring here. I shouldn't have closed my Astrobin because I do have a picture of Croxi. Yeah, here's the Croxi Galaxy. This is taken with the Sea Star, so it's pretty interesting. And there are like some stars here. This is like in our own galaxy, but it looks like it's in Croxi Galaxy. And with a good with long enough exposure, you can get the outer edges to look really nice. So maybe I'll search for M94 and just show you what I mean. There's so much to space. It's like one of my like these. Like this is a good one. Good job, Drach bar. Yeah, like this is a really nice image of M94. Taken May 2023 using a Celestron C8. So this is the size telescope that I'm hoping to use. So I'm looking forward to that. But he used a reducer, which I'm not going to, because I don't have one. Where's the Bortle information? They changed the layout for Astrobin, and I'm totally lost. Anyways, yeah, this is yeah, like I'd recommend just going through Astrobin. You can just go through the front page and just scroll through and see what people image. There's lots of amazing things that I'll never see. You'll never see. Yeah, and like I love looking at southern astrophotographers from the southern hemisphere because they'll see stuff that I can only dream of, like the Magellanic Clouds. It looks like the Whirlpool Galaxy won by 90%. Cool. Oh, nice. Congrats on the new laptop. Yeah, I got myself a gaming laptop 4 or 5 years ago that I use for astrophotography processing when I am not home. Super useful. But at home here, I'm on a desktop. I'm building myself a new one over the weekend, so looking forward to that. I want to go to Antarctica, but I think you have to be special, some kind of special to go to Antarctica. Scientists, someone famous maybe. There was a total solar eclipse in Antarctica a few years ago. Lots of scientists went, and then they got clouded out during totality. Yeah, I'd love to go to Antarctica. But I think to go, I could be wrong, but I think to go like during the night season, like in which would be around our summertime, like in July August, like you need to be a scientist because it's just dark there all the time. All right, so M104 looks good. So what I'm going to do is for the end of this stream is go back to my sequencer. I will stop M94. Oops. And then I'll re-enable M106, and then I'll start taking images of that again. Oops, nope, let's not do that. Um, Target, slew and center, reset, reset. There we go. Okay. I don't think I've watched the thing. Whenever you say the thing, I think about the thing from Fantastic Four. I'm googling it. Maybe I did watch it. Let's see the thing. Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I will put that on my list to watch. Oh, it's Kurt Russell and Keith David. Wait, which one? There seems to be two. There's a 1982 and a 2011. The 2011 one a um, remake. I can do scary movies. I'm fine doing scary movies. My wife who doesn't like scary movies, so that might be a little bit difficult because I rarely watch things just by myself nowadays. Yeah, it looks like 1982 is the one with the Kurt Russell. Oops. Ah, cool. I will check out the 1982 one when I can. And with that, as soon as this 2 minute exposure is done, we'll see what M106 looks like. So this is around where we started the stream, and so where I'm going to end it. I'm going to let this go on for a few hours. I'll collect as much data as I can, but once I have my first image here, I'll start shutting down the live stream. So I want to thank everyone for joining. And I know if you have time, you'll join me on Saturday night. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know what I think of it. And we are back where we were about 45 minutes ago with M106. I appreciate you spending time here. Thank you all. Good night, Beverly. Good night, Qubits. Good night, Chen. Good night, six others who are watching.